occurred to me this morning as I logged in, and I've been playing as my monk. And the title of this is kind of, it's a little misleading, but it's not. And I will explain. When you're playing as any character, not just the monk, just wanted to show the character that I'll be playing as, gameplay behind what I'm doing, or behind what I'm saying, because it also exemplifies kind of what I was saying, and I will prove my point. You see this staff? This staff was a purchase that I made yesterday. But up until that point, the day before, I stuck with a low-level staff because I was, like, firmly attached to it. So here's where taking a break is a good thing. Take a break, go grocery shopping, take care of your dog, maybe go to sleep at night, take a shower, whatever. Come back, right? Play as your character and see how it feels. And if you feel like you have to dump way more effort in than you think the character's worth, there's something wrong with your item somewhere, most likely, or maybe a passive. And the reason I can get away with saying that is because of the story I'm about to tell. Day one, playing as a monk. Awesome experience. Well, I mean, the first, 5-10 minutes were a little bit rough because, up close, you take your first kill from getting, one hit KO'd because you missed dodge on the Miller or something, right? And that's it, right? Like, you're sitting there saying, oh god, I hope this isn't, a testament to how this whole character experience is going to be. And then you get, another 5-10 minutes in, and you're like, oh, this class is actually pretty baller. And you enjoy it, right? And then you start developing build principles in your head, but you start to get attached to one thing or another, which is fine for builds because, sometimes when it comes to building characters, you need them to specialize on certain things. But where that's dangerous is when it comes to gear and weapons before you've cleared the game. Now, I have 4 or 5 characters and a beetle attacking my guy, who mysteriously kind of looks like the one of the guys from the Death Note Netflix movie. The one with Willem Dafoe. Here's my point, though. Don't get attached to your gear until you get max level and you start actually putting your final build together. And that's true because, and I'm sure there'd be some endgame players who are like, don't even do it during the endgame. I'm sure they'd say because of nerfs or buffs or whatever, you're going to end up changing your build at some point. I'm not even there yet. I have 4 to 5 different characters. I haven't even cleared Act 3 yet, the first time. I do intend to at some point today. I have a vehicle I have to take to a garage for some work. I have a snowblower that actually does need to be put together when that's done, so I've kind of got a lot to do today. But I do at some point intend to be streaming here today too, so the car can't take a back seat because that is a scheduled appointment. The snowblower can be kind of chipped away at. I mean, I can add the wheels today, put the handlebars on it tomorrow, and then put the thrower chute up and the battery in the third day, right? That's kind of whatever. But because we actually have decent weather this week, except for this morning where it was all raining and warm for a change. Anyway, getting sidetracked. I did not want to take a lightning quarter staff, a crackling staff, because my physical damage basically dictates my character's overall damage, which is fine for my build, which is largely oriented around physical damage, translating into elemental damage types. Now, the reason that that's important is because the merchant that first showed up that had quarterstaffs only had the crackling ones, and I wasn't getting the other ones to drop. Here's the other way that taking a break can work in your advantage. Merchants in Path of Exile 2 periodically reset. Taking a break to go do something else could mean the difference between being able to buy a good item or having a crap item. Now, there is a gambling system in this game. You can take a chance at getting a unique or rare staff from the gambler. That's possible. Do I recommend it? Not usually, because it's usually pretty expensive. But if you're in a tight spot, like say you want to take a break, but you want to take the break after you have off the boss, right? Well, sometimes, number one, sometimes that doesn't necessarily happen depending on your build or whatever. Or just the game hating you. Knocking a certain number of attacks your way in a certain pattern that you're not used to, or something like that. Like the robot boss, the automaton boss, that has the little hovering things that come in after you get it down to low health. And then the next thing you know, you're just kind of cooked because you didn't really spec up for having to hide behind his hand or the knife and taking damage from his adds. You accounted for his damage, but not the add damage on top of his damage. Stuff like that. Sometimes taking a break to consider your build and your class item and your just general equipment can play a big role in actually proceeding in the game. In my case, it is, in fact, the staff. I was working with a level 11 regular crescent staff, or not even a crescent staff, it was just the quarter staff that you get in the first part of the game, right? Act 1. I get into Act 2, and I get nothing but lightning quarter staffs all over the place, and I can't find this one. And there you go. But since I've been able to take a break from, playing the game for, what was it? It was yesterday that I did it. I got up, went to the bathroom, got things cleaned up around the house a little bit, came back. The shops had reset. I don't remember when they reset, but I came back and she had a regular staff that I did actually have to manually upgrade, but I'm glad I did because now my attack ratings are quite insane. That and the fact that I'm getting life and mana per kill effectively makes my character just clear adds like crazy. It's, in my opinion, it's a good build. It's a good weapon. I haven't even put sockets in it yet, which I'm actually looking for the physical damage increasers because I want to bump those numbers up higher. Make big number bigger, basically, on the case of physical damage in this particular case. Now, I do also have some cold resistance put on and fire resistance put into my character. I'll put in some chaos and electric resistance too, or lightning resistance. Well, it's already got lightning resistance built into the armor, but that's also only level 12 armor. Leveling is important in early game, and I can't stress this enough. Yes, I was able to make a level 10 or 11 quarterstaff go basically the entirety of Act 1 and into part of Act 2. That's great. That's fun. That's awesome. But there comes a point where your items have their physical and statistical limitations, and you have to respect those limitations when you're early game. Have to understand that, yes, I've so far dumped in 3 different gems on this one quarterstaff. There was the one to turn it into a blue, the one that adds in the secondary blue perk, and the one to turn it rare. And actually I've dumped in 2 more artificer's gems, so I've done 5 resources on this one thing, which is a lot. And I'm about to put 2 more, making it up to 7 to increase its damage output. But in doing that, I'm effectively making this a boss killing and just mow down everything weapon for now, so that way it's overpowered and hopefully can get me through this act and into Act 3, where I'm going to be looking for its replacement. And then I'm going to have to spend upwards of probably 7 resources, knowing my luck, getting a better one, dumping a bunch of quality stuff in it, which is why I'm not using the blacksmithing whetstones, despite the fact that I have 1 on this character, but I probably have more on the other 4 characters that I have, including the sorceress, who doesn't even use that. So It's something to consider, and remember the fact that the items that you carry in early to mid game are temporary. They are to build up and to understand what you're going for. They're a learning experience. Do not get too attached to one item. I have 2 uniques on here. I like it because it gives me movement speed. And the, the max life, stun threshold, and all that. And this one gives a basic critical hit chance for attacks with weapons is 8%. But it ramps up the other damage types. I might actually get rid of that, though, if I'm reading that correctly. So, actually, I might keep my hand on it because of the increase to physical damage. Just about everything I have on this character somehow attributes to the character's survivability. That one, not so much. Well, kind of. The life per second is definitely the worthwhile thing there. Might look at getting a different amulet, but, and also that it's underleveled, but until I get another one that has the 9% increase of rarity of items, I'm probably not going to replace that right off, because that is one perk that has been inordinately useful for me. Mostly because RNGesus tends to hate my guts. And that's another thing. I lucked into plus 32 spirit on my chest piece, my armor. Well, I have 2 persistent abilities active. I have the ice armor, and I have the Herald of Ice, which makes it so effectively hitting frozen enemies explodes, causing more damage. Point in fact. I am effectively just clearing ads by exploding icicles. And if they damage me with a melee... Magnus, no one's here, it's just snow falling off the roof, but I know you're a puppy dog, you want to go bark at it. Your skill gems are vastly more quote-unquote permanent than your gear. Just like ordinarily. And I kind of feel like Path of Exile 1 was very similar in that regard. Until you get to like the end game and you've maxed out your character's build, or you've done all the work that you can to it, and you don't really feel like you can do anything more to it. Which is fine, that absolutely can happen. Just take a chill pill on screaming that your gear is the best in the game, blah, blah, blah. Because most likely, number 1, it is not. Number 2, even if it was for your build, that's just the best for your build. That does not mean that your gameplay style is going to work for everyone, number 1. And number 2, it also doesn't mean that, it is the ultimate and be-all, end-all in this game. We're talking about an early access title, number 1, and number 2. You're also discussing the fact that we're in an action role-playing game with many different play styles, including support. I could have my fiance come in here with a minion build that also buffs me as a player, furthering my damage and my life regen and everything else, while I'm doing a crap ton of damage. Alternatively, she could enjoy playing as the monk more than I do, like the build that I'm using, and the next thing you know, we have 2 of the same builds, but maybe we've changed off a passive or 2 to include ally assistance, like regenerating health. This thing. You guys need to get away from me. We are killing that thing. Line up. Another thing that I found is sometimes when you're doing ad control, the more you can limit the number of ads coming from what direction, the better. Just lots of money. Ooh, hello.
I must maintain a fine balance.
Maybe. Oh, wrong thing. Okay, adds cold damage and dexterity. That is not what I wanted to see. Alright, we'll go empty out this character the one time. Anyway, I just wanted to kind of impart my thoughts on build potentials in this game, and especially early game. Don't get too attached to your gear. Skills change. You're going to be leveling up and slapping different gems in just about every act. And even if you don't, you're still going to be messing with support gems and stuff. So don't get too attached to one idea over another. Keep an open mind. And when it comes to gear, respect the level, respect the numbers, and respect the attack damage. Because, like, if you don't respect your own stats, if you don't actually sit down and read what they do, why are you even playing the game? You might as well just go play Call of Duty or something, because it's literally, if you want brainless, go do a first-person shooter or something. This game requires thought, not just action. You have to think then your choices are very consequential in this game in that they don't affect the story, but they do affect your ability to progress in the story, being that if you choose wrongly for your particular character that you're trying to build, you might not progress. It's just a thought. If you like the content, hit the like and subscribe button, and I will see you on the next one. Actually, probably later today. And I probably won't be alone.